Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Checking in on the cryptocurrency space, it's been 2 days since the last video, and not a ton has changed since then. The bulls have continued to impress with their slow and steady buying of the dip. The dip lasted about 6 hours. That's all the bears put together. The bears got no follow through. So as long as we are in daily uptrends, the burden of proof is on the bears, and the bears are not proving anything to us in terms of getting follow through or losing uptrends. So the daily uptrend is still intact. We're still holding the daily 12-period exponential moving average. That is still a major level for me, because every time we have consolidated in the last month of trading, we have held these levels. We have further weakness in markets. The futures markets just opened up, and the S&P 500 gapped down. Oil lower open, so still weakness out there in the broader markets. And we're watching the longer term time frames. For me personally, I usually use the daily, 4-hour, and hourly, but there's certain setups that dictate other time frames for clarity. So when I look at this 4-hour time frame, I can see the clear dump, the bounce, the nice grinding of the exponential support. Look at this base put in by the bulls before another leg up. Look at them continue to hold that exponential support on consolidation. So there's stair steps here creating support levels, but if we're looking at it from a 6-hour or a 12-hour time frame, we're still watching for the potential of an equilibrium with our high, low the pullback, and scouting a lower high. And if you look at this from the daily time frame, what does this look a lot like? It looks a lot like a mini version of this pullback. There was a lot more volatility here, but we dumped, we held the exponential support, we got significant follow through, but we still set a lower high and then formed an equilibrium. So it looks something along those lines, just much more condensed and a smaller pattern, essentially, meaning it would break sooner. This pattern took about 9 days to play out, which means this one could take potentially 5 or 6 days to play out. So first things that we're watching for, number one, are we going to lose the 4-hour uptrend? Losing the 4-hour uptrend would be confident. It would give me confidence saying our lower high has been set and we need to pull back and potentially test that daily 12-period exponential support again. Right now, our 4-hour higher low on Bitcoin is 86.10. As long as that level holds, the bulls are keeping full control of this recovery. If we do get a bull break from here and just keep going up towards 9,090, our recent high, personally, I'm not looking to make a bullish entry on any break after seeing this significant of a move. So hard to imagine there's going to be a lot of buyers up at that level if we were to head to that level and test it. I think that the market and even the bulls would benefit more if this range tightened leading into a bull break. So it's all about the 4-hour uptrend overnight tonight to see if the bulls can keep that intact. Checking in on ETH, very similar story. High and the low, looking like we're topping out on this 4-hour time frame, a bit of a double top at 275. And if we lose the 4-hour uptrend, then our tightening range will be set. Looking at things on the 12-hour chart, high, low, and scouting our lower high to potentially be set. Right now, there's a clear top fishing play on ETH for bears looking to enter, and an exit would be if 275 were to break. And for bears looking for Bitcoin, personally, I'd want to see the price a little bit closer to 9,090 resistance if I were going to top fish against that level, because right now we're about $300 away from that resistance, just under that, and that would be over 3% risk on that trade if you were going to short into that strength that we are still seeing at this point. So the most important support level for me on ETH is 261.30. If that level is lost, tightening range is coming. You can see our clear double top and clear higher lows. So we should get a break of this tightening range sometime potentially overnight tonight. Keeping in mind these are 4-hour candlesticks, and we could easily see another 3 or 4 candlesticks printed in this channel. But 261.30 to 275 is the most important range to be watching. Watching the ETH BTC pairing here, they got that big time rejection on that dump, and looking at it from the 12-hour perspective. And this is certainly one of the more clear equilibriums with our high and our low. Our lower high is clearly set, so that's the difference. Bitcoin and Ethereum have not clearly set our lower high, whereas ETH BTC has, and now we look for the higher low compared to 2972. So keep an eye on this pattern, because in my opinion, how this 12-hour chart breaks or when it breaks will probably correlate with either Bitcoin losing the daily 12-period exponential and potentially losing the daily uptrend, or a bull break to see continuation. And how this chart breaks, once we get a break of the USD charts, will dictate whether we should be looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum out of those two. Litecoin still holding the daily exponential. Let's see what its 12-hour chart looks like. High, low, still not confident that our lower high has been set because the 4-hour uptrend is intact. 116.65 is resistance, and the bulls have a higher low right now at 112.54 to try and keep the 4-hour uptrend in favor, lose that level, and our 12-hour lower high will likely be set for some continued tightening ranges. XRP, still holding on to the daily 12-period exponential as well. Looking at it on the 12-hour time frame, we have not set that lower high yet, and there's actually a clear level of support established. So it's a little bit of a different view because we do have clear consolidation on the way up. But watching the 4-hour time frame here as well, support, we have a level down at 43389. That's key short-term support. And if that breaks, we're looking down at 418. This pullback that happened right here in the middle of the bounce is one of the more significant pullbacks out of anybody that we looked at. So that's an important support level that not a bunch of the other names that we looked at has at that period in time. And BNB holding on as well. And again, that correlation is picking up with BNB. For me, it's more noticeable than it has been in the recent past. Looking at it on the 12-hour, we have our high, low, and it looks like our lower high was set up here. But again, it's the 4-hour uptrend, which is still intact. Support is 33.10 and 32.50. Lose the 4-hour uptrend. 12-hour equilibriums will be setting up. If the bulls keep the 4-hour uptrend all night, they're certainly going to keep marching up towards their recent resistances, which would be very bullish. So pretty much bottom line, summary. Daily 12-period exponential moving average supports are important for the bulls to keep maintaining from here. Lose the 4-hour uptrend in the next 12 to 20 hours, and we're going to be looking for tightening 12-hour ranges, using the 12-hour for clarity if we get that support break. And if that were to happen, I would anticipate at this point it's dragging out pretty long, so I'd anticipate perhaps a Tuesday break of a tightening range if we were to lose the 4-hour uptrends sometime heading into tomorrow. So that's what we're watching. If I were looking for entries right now, I'm patiently waiting on tightening ranges, but if I were looking for entries, I personally would be keeping an eye out for a bearish entry, looking for a loss of those 4-hour uptrends and for the range to keep tightening. But there's nothing wrong with sitting in cash and just waiting for those tightening ranges if they are coming to break. And if you bought that dip and still have a position, congrats to your iron fists holding on to that significant bounce follow through. And your two strategies are either to just let it ride, ideally to stop loss of break even, or exit with the loss of the 4-hour uptrend and then look for a re-entry. The easier way would just be setting a stop loss at break even and hoping for daily continuation. So we'll end it here. Don't have a video for the end of today. I'm going to get some praying mantis shots in the garden. Found a little guy who's growing up and found out where he likes to hang out, so I'll keep an eye out for him. But we'll end it on a do good notes thing. Something that stood out to me just a couple days ago is one thing I really like to personally reward, and I get to choose what I do with my money. I like to reward hustle. I've made videos about it in the past and how it's had such a significant impact on my life just by putting forth that extra effort. But I really like seeing people do it in situations where it would be really easy not to. And an example of that is just the service industry. It's very easy for someone like myself who is working for themselves to be really motivated. I see a direct correlation with my efforts and the results, and when you're in the service industry, that's not always the case, and the people you're dealing with, that's another thing that I love about, running your own business is if someone's really rude, we can just say, no thanks, we don't want your business. And if you're in the service industry, working for somebody, you have to just eat all of that you get from other people. But when I see people really hustling, and just an example was a couple days ago at a coffee shop with a line out the door, and these two women who were working really, really hard and really fast paced to try and get everybody's orders and do the best that they can. And that really stands out to me because, they could be taking their time and it would be a different scenario, but their pay, yes, they get tipped, but their pay is not really directly correlated to their effort as it is in other jobs and industries. So personally, I like to reward that when I see that happen, and that's my way of just giving a little nod, tip of the cap to say, I see you, and I see you hustling, and maybe this isn't your dream job, but you're putting in a lot of effort, and I hope that works out and leads to bigger and better things. I appreciate you watching. We'll check back in once we get a break of this range. If we just consolidate and lose the 4-hour uptrend, might not put out a video tomorrow because, again, there's not going to be a whole lot to update. We'll get those tightening ranges that we're anticipating. We'll watch the daily 12-period exponential support, and we'll wait for that break. Thanks again. See you soon.